you guys remember that from your childhood, though? Like outgrowing your friends?
I never had a friend.
Right, yeah, couldn't be me. Pete didn't outgrow, and I didn't have friends, so...
Brunch! Hit it, boys!
Okay, big episode. Got a lot to get to. We're doing what's your cookie of choice? Chocolate chip or oatmeal raisin? You're going to find a lot of people, they'll make fun of oatmeal raisin cookies. They'll say they don't even like them.
Ooh. And the other people who say that they don't like them, we tricked them. Because we said that they were chocolate chip and they actually ate oatmeal raisin.
Oh, it was that blind taste test.
Yes.
It was a big... I think chocolate chip or oatmeal cookies being bad is like the number one. Oh, you think you're cool for that take? It's wrong. Oatmeal raisin cookies rule.
Well, they're fine. They are fine. I think that the biggest issue that comes with oatmeal raisin cookies, and I just alluded to it,
it's not a chocolate chip.
A lot of the times you think that it's a chocolate chip. Like you're coming in thinking that you're getting a chocolate chip cookie, and then you get up close or you take a first bite and you're like, fuck, this is oatmeal raisin.
I'll tell you, that was just like a bit to start the show to be like, hey, we got a lot of stuff on this show, and then talk about like a very basic, lame discussion. But now I am guaranteed to be going to get a cookie right after this. Probably going to eat like 5 cookies. We didn't talk. We got Randy on this episode. Hold on. We got a person from Stranger Things on this episode. Not saying who it is.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers this entire episode.
No. There will for sure be spoilers in that conversation, but the guest himself is we're waiting to drop that at the very last second. So
did you just assume throughout the flayed monster's gender?
That's no
pretty problematic.
And maybe it's the Demogorgon. But wait, the Demogorgon's not in this season. Yes, it's in the end. I told you there's going to be spoilers. So stuff like that, folks. You got to watch out for the spoilers. They're going to pop up from time to time. But in addition to our surprise Stranger Things guest, we saw Spider-Man. We did not see Midsommar, but our guest saw Midsommar and talked us into seeing it. Apparently, if we're going to be people who talk about all the movies, you know that I get pissed when people say, "Oh, that win album of the year," and when someone didn't hear it, I'm like, because it was good, you person that didn't listen to it. You can't do that with movies either. You got to see all the nominated ones. You got to see all the great ones. And this person has told us that we have to see Midsommar, even though it's supposedly very, very scary. Maybe I might just honestly go with you.
And I'm going tonight, so seems like
I'm working.
Yeah, so bummer.
Maybe I'll see it tomorrow morning. But so we're gonna see that for next week. We saw Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I know that's what it's called.
Before we'll jump into that in a sec. First, you didn't see it. I did. Aziz put out a new special on Netflix, and it was okay. It was fine. He talks about the misconduct thing.
Heard he comes right out of the bat, like pretty early on. He talks about it.
Yes, he says that somebody recognized him, and they were like, "Yo, Master of None." Yeah, that's me. And he's like, Tree Yourself. Yeah, that's me. Parks and Rec. Yeah, that's me. Oh, because they mistook him for another Indian actor. Yeah. And then they're like, sexual misconduct. And he's like, no, that was the other guy. So it was like pretty funny joke. And then he talks about that whole thing. And it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. He just basically says that it's made him reassess a bunch of stuff, and it's made his friends reassess a bunch of stuff. He didn't say like black or white, like this happened, this didn't happen, she did this, I did this, whatever, which I think was probably for the best. Yes. Just like let it not necessarily die, but like
let it exist. Acknowledge
Everyone
that it's there.
See the situation, learn from it.
Right.
But overall, the special's okay. My biggest issue, and you share this with me, I cannot stand the Metallica t-shirt fashion trend that has been going on for the last 5 to 10 years. And in this, Aziz, who always wears tuxes or really nice suits, wears a he wears a Ride the Lightning shirt that's clearly from like Target. 84. no, it's like looks like it was vintage, and he probably paid like $1,000 for it. I'm like, man, I'm not saying that I don't think that you like Metallica, but I know you for all these other things, and you talk about everything that you like, and I haven't heard word one about you liking Metallica's second album.
And also, like, I know you put a ton of thought into your attire.
True.
And, like, you are very much a fashion person, and so you made a very conscious decision that you were going to wear that Metallica shirt during the special,
right?
Especially with it being a special.
Yes, it wasn't his greatest stuff, but he does have he has very good commentary on.
I didn't think that his last special was really good either.
Well, he hasn't he's reinvented himself in acting more so than he has in comedy. Yeah. Where like he can do different things in acting, but comedically, and he touches on this how like he can't make R. Kelly jokes anymore, and that used to be like all of his material.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's just like what he used to do. He'd be like, I was at a club, blah, blah, and then R. Kelly came out and it was crazy. And I was like, you haven't heard of that, man? Like, that's his whole kind of thing. Just quickly, shouts out to me. I kind of did an Aziz Ansari impression there without doing a Southern accent, which I don't think is offensive to do a Southern accent. No. But I did accent free. But I think that you could tell there that I was going for Aziz Ansari. So
there you go.
Pat on the back. Very good.
Out the episode being pretty problematic. Now you
what did I do?
A redemption arc. You assumed the gender of the
That's
guest,
right.
And now you've had a redemption arc, and now you're back to being problematic.
Regular Steve Harrington over here. Spoiler number 2, baby. Quick shouts out to Kawhi Leonard. What It Do, Baby is the best thing in the world.
It's so great because Kawhi Leonard could not give a shit or like have any less of an idea of what makes a meme or just like he was in no shape or form going for virality with What It Do, Baby, and it has just become very authentically the greatest thing of the summer. That What It Do, Baby is the song of the summer.
Yes, I totally agree. I've always like done a thing, not always, but like last few years where I'll just randomly throw like "bay" at the end of my texts or tweets, but it's never been something that I said or like knew what it was even sounded like in my head. Just it was basically like an indicator of this is tongue in cheek. And then I saw What It Do, Baby, and I was like, oh man, like actually tagging something with baby is the funniest thing in the world.
Oh yeah.
I hated when Kawhi did the second laugh. So the first laugh,
but he did it to mock the first laugh or like poke fun at the first laugh, and I thought that was fun.
But it was so bad. It just sounded so horrible. Anyway, shouts out Kawhi. Shouts out for the players taking over the NBA and being like, yo, doesn't matter who's under contract. We are just going to make whatever teams happen we want. And at the end of all of this, the league is like super even and spread out. And awesome. Like every team now has 2 good players.
I'm so excited for this season.
It's wild. Like you saw, I don't like that Kawhi can just call Paul George and say, hey, want to do me a favor, demand a trade, and then we'll both go to this place. And Thunder fans have to be like, oh, well, my team did the right stuff, and they signed the player, and they got the player, and now because he got a phone call, even though he's under contract, we don't get this player anymore. Right. So I think that stinks. But I think it's very impressive and maybe lucky, because if Kawhi makes one different decision, if he goes to the Lakers, then there is that super team. But I think it's funny that the players took over the league, are doing whatever they want, and it has ended up actually leaving the landscape of the NBA looking awesome.
It also helps that I think that Clay tore his ACL. Like that, like right. The Warriors would have been a lot stronger they still had Steph, Clay, and Draymond
and D'Angelo Russell now.
I
love that they got D'Angelo Russell. I want them to be the team that gets in the Lakers and Clippers face. Like I would love for that dynasty to keep happening, despite teams trying to kind of load up. Anyway, there's the half-hearted sports talk for the show. We saw. Oh no, I want to say on Aziz. He had very good commentary on white people jumping over each other to prove they're most woke. He had a line there. He was like, shoot, I can't tell if it's offensive for me to recall it, but was it
the one where it was like, I didn't like Crazy Rich Asians when I first saw it, but now
No, he said that like people were, I forget, they were sitting near him and they were talking about something and they kept going out of their way to say like, oh, well, this is offensive. Well, you can't say this because this is offensive, blah, blah, blah. He said he wanted to cut them off and be like, all right, just call me like whatever, like racial term, or like just go back to when everyone just didn't even think about the stuff and were awful to me because I'd rather hear you not speak like about what great of people you are. And his conclusion with it was like, things don't start being racist once white people figure out that they're racist. Like they've always been bad, and it's great that you're recognizing them and everything, but you then make it about yourself and what a good person you are. And I think that there was some truth in that. He had very good commentary on people trying to out woke each other. And yeah, he does the bit on Crazy Rich Asians about like people being afraid to say that they didn't like Crazy Rich Asians. He's like, yo, like that's not solving the problem to say like I'm afraid to say that I didn't like it. It's just like just treat everybody normally, you idiots. So it was good. It wasn't the best, but it was good. Worth watching. I won't watch it again. The t-shirt thing drives me crazy. We saw Spider-Man 2. Everybody loves Spider-Man 2.
Yes, not the Tobey Maguire one. The Tom Holland.
No, the second one.
Yes.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Tobey Maguire one was the first one.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Actually, the second one is the Andrew Garfield one.
Oh, right.
Spider-Man
3.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Is Emma Stone's not in this one.
Emma Stone is not in this one.
Zendaya.
One of those.
Right. She her character hasn't changed.
No, her character hasn't changed in like anything that she's been in. She's in Euphoria, that new show on HBO, which is really good. I like it a lot. She basically plays the same character and
indifferent.
Yeah, indifferent, like a little dark, a little sassy. She's great in everything. I think that she's a really good actress. I just think that show me a little something different.
What did you think of Spider-Man 2?
I thought that Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, they complained about ads again. And everyone's mad at us again. It was because of the thing last time when we sang. They got mad that we were overtly complaining about the read while doing it. What you thought?
I thought that Spider-Man 3 was, wait for it.
Are you going to say what I think you're going to say?
The best live-action Spider-Man that has ever been made.
Oh,
baby. I have a special place in my heart for the Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 1.2, the Tobey Maguire ones.
Second half of Spider-Man 1.
Yes, yes. Spider-Man 1 Part 2.
Right, the B-side of Spider-Man.
Yes. I think that those two are really, really strong. I don't think that they age as well as this one might not age well either, but I don't know. I think that this one was more complete and a better overall movie than any of the ones before it.
It's a great film.
Yes.
Seriously, no complaints about it. I always say this with superhero movies. If I liked it legitimately as a movie, I think that it counts so much more because it can reach people who legitimately could not care one F about superhero movies. I'll watch this movie multiple times.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you also have to give it credit for like we got to be approaching a point where like there is some superhero exhaustion,
oversaturation.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. Like
oversaturation.
Yes, it has been done relentlessly for like the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And somehow Marvel just keeps nailing it and like crushing it out of the park. And I think that this is a top 10 Marvel movie during this run. And that's
for sure.
saying a lot. And possibly top 5. So this is one of the strongest ones.
For this run,
amazing.
For this run, I think tell me ones I'm missing, but I think that it's
I would say it's
does it have to be live action?
That's
because I can't decide whether Into the Spider-Verse. Oh, I can't decide.
That's not Marvel, or it's not like the Marvel's MCU.
Because I can't decide whether I like this more than Into the Spider-Verse. I do. I like Into the Spider-Verse more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Same. But I would say top 5 non-Avengers category.
Okay.
Like if you take away
fucking
Endgame
don't know what that means.
Infinity War. If you take away Endgame and Infinity War, I would say that this is a top 5 Marvel movie.
What are those? Are those songs?
You blipped.
I blipped. Man, I'll tell you, when we talk to Randy, I try to think of the term blip, which is something in this, and I can't do it. There's a twist. Pete can't do it either. Bigger twist. Randy hasn't seen the movie, doesn't know what we're talking about, and in what becomes a trend during that interview, doesn't say anything. Randy, we're cutting that out. No, we'll cut that out. I'll edit the interview, you edit the beginning, and I think that we're both going to have equal work to do. In the interview, I can't remember the word blip. Pete can't remember the word blip. Huge twist. The Stranger Things person doesn't know what we're talking about and hasn't seen that movie. So I don't know. We got like 15 minutes. We don't know if it'll get cut out or what, but there's a good while where we're trying to think of what the word blip means. People just disappear in this movie, which I think is cool. I mean, the visuals in general.
Did you not see either of the Avengers?
Definitely not. What are you talking about?
So the blip and the people disappearing is literally like the entire basis of the Avengers.
I know they disappear at the end of Ant-Man 2. Is Ant-Man 2 called the Avengers?
No, but it's part of the.
Is that like a nickname? Is this
all the
slang?
Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Throwing around Marvel slurs?
In Avengers, it's called the Snap. And in Spider-Man, it's called the blip, and it's the same thing.
And when's it called? The clap.
Oh God.
What is it? How I Met Your Mother?
Yes.
So people blip. They just come. So that's not an impressive thing.
No.
If I say
everybody
that
happens to half the universe.
Okay, I was going to say between that and the visuals are incredible. In this movie,
Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic.
The Jake Gyllenhaal. So Jake Gyllenhaal has these scenes where like I said, visuals are incredible. He's got these projectors that are making all these crazy things happen, and I'll tell you, the special effects ain't bad either.
You're the worst. You're the worst.
I spent probably like 4 days trying to figure out how to word that.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is a fantastic looking person.
He looks outstanding.
Yes.
He said the special effects ain't bad either.
Power ranking of looks in this movie, Jake Gyllenhaal number 2. Number 1 is still Marissa Tomei, who is just
never even thinking about losing it.
No, not in a single second of the day has she ever considered, hey, maybe I will not murder this pair of jeans.
Right. Yeah. You know what? She's not once thought, what if I were to slow down a little bit?
Aunt May, I have a crumble, please.
Yes. So she rules. What are my other notes? Oh, I got 2 big notes from this movie. Does anybody want to do anything less than Spider-Man wants to be Spider-Man?
Nope.
This kid
hates
hilarious. That he's Spider-Man.
Which is hilarious because in the first one, he liked nothing more than being Spider-Man. And just like was any given opportunity, he wanted to be Spider-Man. He wanted to join the Avengers. He finally made it in the Avengers. He does not want any part of being Spider-Man. My
number 2 note, Spider-Man really seems to blame his lack of luck with the ladies on the fact that he's Spider-Man, he'll be like, there'll be out at a thing together as a class. And he's like, oh, this is when I'll finally sit next to MJ. And then I'm going to tell her how I feel. And it's going to be great. And they're like, Spider-Man, we need you. And he was like, oh, man, I was totally going to do all those things that I was just going to say. Oh, whoops, got to go. And then they're like, actually, you know what? We've got other people here. We don't know. He's like, no, I'm coming.
I'm already on the way.
I can't. Okay, fine. And he does that like 5 times throughout the movie, doesn't he?
I think so.
He gives me like, oh, this is what was going to happen with MJ.
I got this whole plan.
Right. So here's my tip, fellas. If you're not exactly killing it in the love department, say you're Spider-Man.
I'm pretty sure that he packed his Spider-Man costume.
Oh, he definitely did. And he put a note on there that was like, from Aunt May.
Hey, Aunt May, can I borrow like something that you wrote on so I can copy your handwriting and forge a note to myself?
Clearly, I mean, he's like an awkward high school kid who's afraid to talk to the girl he likes, but he just won't admit it. He just totally put. So if anybody's like, if someone's like, hey, how's it going? You seen anybody? Just be like, nah. It's kind of been like 4 years, but you know. Fuck! I wish I wasn't Spider-Man. Am I right? Ugh.
Do you think that Jon Favreau has like a clause in every contract that he has
to gain or lose weight?
No, that he has to just bang women that are completely out of his league.
Oh,
I mean, coming off a Chef.
Right.
I don't know if that's the last movie that he's made, but I mean,
I think so. I think a movie like 8 years ago was his last movie.
Scarlett Johansson and Sofia Vergara, and then he's just like, oh yeah, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah,
I'm gonna add that to the list.
He does. Who do you think he's gonna? He's not in The Lion King, right?
No, he's just directing it.
I was gonna say he's gonna like make up a character for himself that like has an affair with Nala, and we're like, oh, like you could get you get grown up Nala, dude. Okay, Favreau. Yeah, I was gonna say the other thing is, I've said that Mark Wahlberg chooses the movies that will get him in the best shape.
Yeah.
I think that Favreau chooses movies that let him yo-yo diet.
Yeah.
So it's like, this better make me either really fat or I guess not like super skinny.
Yeah, when was the last time he was skinny? I think that he's just really choosing roles that allow him to eat.
Was it just like in the 90s he was fine and then he's gained weight over the years?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, maybe he hasn't yet.
And I think now he's also not only choosing projects, but creating projects that allow him to get fatter in the Chef show.
Hell yeah. No Michael Mando in this one.
Yes, but
does he die in what was the one you're talking about? The Instigators?
Yes. Yeah. The Pretenders. The Fantastic Pretenders.
Yeah.
So there is a faction of the Spider-Man comics called the Sinister Six.
Oh, of course.
And yeah,
who doesn't love those?
Right.
You
don't need to explain this to you.
Chicago, New York, Boston, Toronto.
Yes, the original Sinister Sticks. Michael Mando's character is part of that group, and Jake Gyllenhaal's character is also in that.
Oh, okay. So Michael so he hasn't blipped or anything.
No.
I wish that he were still in this. You mentioned how people look. What's this kid's name? Tom
Holland.
Tom Holland. I probably commented on this in the last one. He's like just a very in shape kid who keeps doing I'm not strong, I'm scrawny. And they keep doing scenes where it's like, what's this little asshole going to be able to do? And I'm like, yo, if I went to high school with that kid, he'd be like the most in shape kid at my high school.
Yeah, he's like high school in shape, but not adult in shape.
That's fair. He's high school in shape.
Yes.
Okay. And he's his friend isn't in shape. So maybe
no, definitely not. I will say back to my argument for why this is the best Spider-Man yet. I think that the cast of characters that they have in this one is way stronger than any of the ones in the previous installments. Like in the first couple, in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans and obviously the Andrew Garfield ones, it's basically just about Spider-Man. And in this one, it's very much about the Spider-Man
universe
and his like entourage and the people around him.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say like because this movie for me feels like it's part of the whatever they call
MCU.
Disney World. Yeah,
it's definitely a broader universe.
Okay, right. It's that his existence is part of
a bigger thing.
Right.
Yes, but I also think that the parts just directly around him are much stronger than they were in any of the other previous Spider-Mans.
So I agree with that. So do people know? Shouts out Doc Ock though.
Yes,
sorry to
very strong villain.
Who plays Doc Ock?
What's that guy's name? He was in.
He's a well-known guy though.
Yes, Alfred Molina.
Yes. So do people know when they're watching this that Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be a bad guy?
Yeah, I mean, Mysterio, if you follow the comics and stuff, is a well-known villain.
Oh, see, I'll tell you, that was a twist for me.
It wasn't. It was because I'm not that familiar with the comics and stuff, but I knew that he was cast as a villain.
Okay,
and I also knew that the movie would have been over in like 70 minutes.
Right,
had the twist not happened.
It's just like he's like a nice adult friend that Spider-Man has.
Right,
like Drake and Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah. I also think that like had it ended without the twist, and that was just the end of the movie, probably would have been like a pretty fine movie.
Right.
Like it was really good through the first 70
just
minutes.
Like it was like an entire movie of Spider-Man being Caillou and being like, but I don't want to be Spider-Man. And then you're like, and then it ends. It's like, he never really had to be that Spider-Man that much. And that's the end of the movie. How long? The movie was over 2 hours, right?
I think it was like
150,
slightly over 2 hours.
Yeah, that was, man. I got no complaints. Very, very good movie. Shall we get to our secret guest?
Yes. Well, at first, are you ready for some sports talk? I said, are you ready for some sports talk?
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess what? Baseball season is in full swing, and placing a wager on baseball has never been more exciting than with betonline.ag. This week, I'm watching the American League versus the National League because it is All-Star Week. And guess what? Because you're a loyal listener of this podcast, which is called Brunch, and CLNS Media, which is the whatever the above umbrella term is for this, you know it. We are giving you an extra 50% added onto your sports betting bankroll when you go to clnsmedia.com/betonbrunch.
Punch it in
and use promo code CLNS50. The best part is
$50.
The best part is the bonus will be added onto your balance within seconds.
$50.
Again, support our podcast by going to clnsmedia.com/betonbrunch and using promo code CLNS50 for that extra 50%.
$500.
A minimum deposit of $25 is required to qualify for the 50% bonus. Please see BetOnline's general rules for additional terms and conditions regarding the bonuses.
Add on the conditions.
And 50%.
Pile them on.
That's
$500.
CLNS Media, not $500. An extra 50% of the bankroll. Just to clarify, so that people don't get mad at us, it's not $500 of free money. It's an extra 50%. And you have to go to clnsmedia.com/betonbrunch using the promo code CLNS50.
500.
Back to the show.
Randy. Whoa. It was a big surprise. We were teasing that we had a special Stranger Things guest. Didn't say who, and there was a bit of a buzz. People weren't sure.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Who could it be?
Who could possibly it be?
Well, let's find out if we made the right choice. I'll tell you, Randy, this was the best season. Pete, do you think best season yet?
I'll always have season one as like a special place in my heart, but I thought this season was fantastic.
All right, well,
spectacular.
Pete
better than season two.
Pete is an old romanticizing guy. I loved it. Great season. Let's get into some complaints. I don't like the kids kissing. Don't like the kids kissing.
Well, kids kiss.
Also,
DJ.
don't, in my experience, also don't like the thirsty moms at the pool. if I wanted a sex show, I would quite frankly watch How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
If we're talking about sex and sexy moms at the pool, I don't like how Billy is portrayed as the hottest person in the world, because you know what? You know who's not that hot? Billy.
He's just fine.
He's fine.
His hair isn't that good.
Like, if you live in the same town as Steve Harrington,
Right.
you are not the hottest person in your town.
Another complaint. Too much music. We get it. You can afford the music now. Season 2, they were like, yo, we got a little bit of money. Let's play some music that's of the times. I was like, yo, I appreciate that. You got a real Freaks and Geeks vibe going. Shouts out you. Now, every 3 minutes, I got a new song. Although some of it, I mean, it was all songs I was happy to hear. But I felt like they were just kind of shoving it down my throat. Best music, the best use of music was Neutron Dance when Alexi is getting away.
Yeah.
And Hopper is totally letting it happen. And he gets in the car and it's Neutron Dance. Just a little shout to Science there and Alexi.
The first couple episodes were
And
for
the Pointer
sure them
Sisters.
just flexing that they can afford music now.
I don't know how we were able to afford Weird Al's My Bologna, but
Well, we're going to be talking about that scene in a bit, but right now we're complaining, and we've got no complaints about that scene.
Another complaint: too much product placement. So much product placement in this year's thing, and that's how they afford the music.
What was it?
we
Orange
gotta buy
Slice.
that music, guys.
It's true. Someone's got to pay for the music.
It was the new Coke.
Was it Orange Slice? Oh, that's right. It was Coca-Cola they were
Yes.
doing. Okay.
So
Coke.
much new Coke.
Icy.
And then like with the
Oh yeah, the Slurpees. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah,
Burger King.
7-Eleven, Burger King, and then there was basically like every scene in the mall was just like a lot of old school. I don't even know if that counts as product placement.
No, it doesn't, because a lot of businesses are they're out of business.
out of business. But some of them were in business.
They
And,
used their remaining money that they when they sold their business and closed up shop and like filed like whatever money they had left. Years later, they paid it.
Yeah.
They spent money for advertising.
Sam Goody's been sitting on that like few $100,000.
This is gonna give
the
them
last 30 years just to revive themselves in Stranger
This is
Things.
going to give them the nostalgia push that they need.
What else you got?
Well, I mean, the last big one is Hopper had a mustache. Get your own look, drunk.
Hasn't Hopper always had a mustache?
Well, he's had a beard. So
yeah,
technically
sure.
he has a mustache.
Mustache is new.
But they made him full mustache.
How do you feel about that, Randy? Because that's in your street corner.
He's Whoopi Goldberging with the glasses right now. He's flipping them down, throwing the eyes out.
Randy, what are your complaints from season 3?
Not enough Mr. Clark.
I agree with that one as well, especially after that intro. I mean, you got the intro of all intros.
When you do that scene, is memeability planned there? Because that is the most memeable scene from the season, probably in the series. Like the reveal, the shooting you from the ground, basically the garage coming up, and you're just standing there in this awesome getup.
I don't know if memeability was in their like planning stages, but they definitely gave me the rock star entrance, which I appreciate.
That was like a WWE entrance where it's like, oh shit, that's Mr. Clark's music, and the garage door coming up slowly.
Well, it's like the whole sequence, right, of like seeing him from behind, and it's like somebody's working on something, and then it's like he's painting a miniature, so you're like, oh, okay, it's nothing like scary, and then he sort of turns, and you've got like the goggles, the magnifying goggles on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the garage door reveal. All that like sort of build up. Much appreciated by me.
What's the process like of finding? I guess it's just wardrobe, but you know that in that scene, it matters so much how you look once it comes up. So, what was the process like of finding the perfect socks, shorts? I mean, you pulled off a polo, which huge congrats. That doesn't just happen. 99% of people who wear polos don't look good in them. They just wear them because they're dumb people. You looked great in that polo. What was it like putting all that together?
Randy's like, that was my polo. Thank you.
It's like, that's just one of my polos.
Those are my clothes. I just came from home and we just shot the scene. They had, I had someone from costumes call me before I even knew I was in it. And they were like, how do you feel about short shorts? And I was like, are you sure I'm in this season? And they were like, yeah, we're pretty sure you're in this season. So I'm like, okay, great. Short shorts are fine. And then when I went in for my fitting, we tried a few different combinations. I think the shoes and socks maybe stayed the same the whole time. And we tried a couple different polos, couple different color combinations.
Short for yellow, right?
The shorts are blue in the show, but I did an Instagram post with like a full body shot of a different pair of shorts.
Okay.
That Amy Paris, our costume designer, sent me. Yeah, you got to try on a few different combinations of clothes just so the costume designer gets a good idea, and she of course sends those over to the Duffer Brothers, and then they make the final call on like what they want to see. So I think those gold shorts are like a little bit shorter than the blue ones were.
And they were like, "This is too much Randy thigh."
I think it might have been just the color.
Okay.
Because
so the problem.
Well, I mean, not short enough. I'll tell you. I mean, the short shorts thing, especially for the look and for the character of Scott. We know that he's kind of a nerdy guy, and that is totally befitting of what a nerdy guy in the '80s who's just cutting loose, painting some miniatures in the garage would be wearing. I mean, they nailed that look. You said there, "Are you sure I'm even in this season?" Was that a legitimate thing? Like, did you know that this was going to be a summer vacation season? Because this takes place, obviously, on the 4th of July. So you would think, upon hearing that, like, oh, shit, is the teacher there?
Yeah. I believe initially that Mr. Clark was not in the season. And then I think the Duffers and the writing staff were trying to figure out how Joyce was going to figure out the magnet thing, and then some genius was
Let's
like,
call him Randy,
Mr. Clark. Yeah, if I could take credit for the writing of the show, which I do. I write the show. No, yeah, obviously someone on the writing staff was like, "How about Mr. Clark?"
Although I gotta say, I do appreciate you being in Stranger Things, but it would have been unbelievable had they been trying to figure out magnets, and then all of a sudden Aaron Paul gets a cameo in Stranger Things. That would have been great.
Ooh, bittersweet.
Magnets.
You're like, this is my livelihood, you jackass. I'll tell you,
Paul, the Insane Clown Posse, whoever.
They played it right though. If not by not having a lot of Randy, but I'm saying if they didn't have that scene in there, then there would be backlash. I talked about the memeability earlier. If like that would be a thing, why wasn't Mr. Clark in Stranger Things? Is Stranger Things becoming this or Stranger Things becoming that? I mean, that scene ruled, but that would have blown if we had no Mr. Clark. Fortunately, I'm assuming in the future they'll be back in the classroom. That's a good name for the season. You can have that for free. Stranger Things 4, back in the classroom.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's brilliant. I'm going to pitch that.
What was that like when you thought that you might not be in the season?
Sad. As an actor, you just allow yourself a couple of days to feel sad about any sort of rejection that happens that you're like super into. But then you got to let it go. I had already let it go by the point when they were like, "Oh yeah, no, you're going to be in it." Like I'd already talked to my agents and been like, "Okay, probably not going to happen, guys." So, let's just move on and start trying to find me other stuff to do.
Not to pick at the wound or anything, but being a guy who's there on the ground floor, that's got to be worse than being rejected from a movie or an audition that doesn't go well or something like that.
It's all the same. It all hits on the same like emotions. Anytime I don't get a job that I wanted to get is bad, or it makes me feel bad. Even in like season 1, I was originally cast in a different role. Did we ever talk about this?
No,
I don't think so.
I was originally cast in a different role.
Dustin, huh?
No, I was up for that one, but didn't get it.
Too many TV.
Yeah, exactly. The role that I was originally cast in was cut during pre-production. as they were just like trimming the script, and they were like, we don't really need this character. Snip, snip.
Who was it? What was it? Can you tell us?
It was going to be Jonathan's boss. Like Jonathan worked at a movie theater, and it was going to be his boss. And it was like a similar character to Mr. Clark, which I think probably was a reason that it got cut, because they were like, why do we need these two sort of like supportive, sort of almost teacher roles? Because Jonathan's boss at the movie theater was into photography. And so there's a scene where after Jonathan's camera gets broken by Steve, that he comes to his boss at the movie theater, and his boss at the movie theater fixes his camera for him.
I forgot about the camera getting broken. That's because every time
Steve was a jerk.
Yeah. Oh, I would. That's one of my notes. What a problematic redemption arc. This guy has gone from breaking cameras, picking on people, to now being like the accepting, finds out that somebody's gay in the 80s and is like the progressive, nice, normal person. Man, it's almost unbelievable somebody could come that far in like 2 years.
Yeah.
I know. No one ever learns lessons.
At least they acknowledge the fact that he was like a scumbag. And
he's John Mayer. He's a recovered douchebag.
Yes,
he's a reformed douchebag.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a good thing for you, Randy, that they cut that, because it's hard to imagine that character would still have use in season 3. Maybe they'd find a way to bring him back, but like Mr. Clark is a pretty central and important person in season 1, and that brought him to season 2 and season 3.
Where would they be without old Mr. C?
Yeah, and credit to you, you did not die in season 3, which breaks the cold streak for you of dying in things after an awesome intro.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Great observation. We never talked to you about that. Huh?
Yeah, just shouts out Duffer Brothers for not murdering me.
Just on the old text chain. But man, when I finally got to see you die, I had tried so many times to see that movie. I think I was on my 3rd or 4th ticket, and I finally got there, and I saw it in 3D, and like the glass in your brains just came at me, and it was incredible. And I was at work actually talking about someone was like, oh, how was the movie? And I was like, oh, it was good. And someone said, oh, which movie was it? And I said, Godzilla. Actually, I was trying to go to see it because my friend's in it, and life happened. I kept missing parts, and I kept showing up late, and blah blah. And he was like, which guy's your friend? And I was like, the head scientist in like the first 15 minutes. And he was like, the guy with that awesome death? And I was like, yes. He was like, oh shit. And then like we put 2 and 2 together. I was like, yo, it's a guy from Stranger Things. And I was cool for a second. So thanks.
Nice.
Your death brought me some real cred around the old orifice. Part of adulthood is having to do things that you don't really want to do, like red-eye flights, working late, mother-in-laws, and getting life insurance. But another part of adulthood is learning to delegate what you hate. And while you can't delegate a visit to mother-in-laws, I mean, it does say in-laws, you can definitely delegate life insurance shopping. Okay, so it's time to get motivated. I'm talking about Policy Genius. It's the easy way to shop for life insurance online in just 2 minutes. You compare quotes from top insurers to find your best price. Once you apply, Policy Genius team will handle all of the paperwork and red tape. No sales pressure, no hidden fees, just financial protection and peace of mind. And Policy Genius doesn't just make life insurance easy. I was like, oh. It doesn't make
a twist.
Right?
Jake Gyllenhaal is the bad guy.
Here's a twist. It's going to get a little complicated. No, and Policy Genius doesn't just make life insurance easy. They also help you find the right home insurance, auto insurance, and disability insurance. So if you need life insurance, but you don't just want to deal with all the legwork, head to policygenius.com. It's the easy way to compare all the top insurers and find the best value for you. Policy Genius. Delegate what you hate, especially if you hate getting life insurance. Speaking of death, Joyce eats lasagna and peas. Maybe she's the killer.
What does that mean?
You didn't see that scene?
Yeah, I saw that scene. Why does that mean she's a killer?
Lasagna and peas?
That's what I thought right off the bat. I was like, they haven't introduced monsters or anything, but I'll tell you who's the killer. choice.
I mean, I'm cool with lasagna, but lasagna and peas paired together is a real.
What do you think of peas on their own? Peas stink.
Yeah, peas are bad.
No.
Ooh,
I think lasagna and peas was it was all about just how lonely and sad she was.
Exactly.
Well,
lasagna and peas is like a lonely and sad meal. It's not like an evil meal.
Mission accomplished.
Well, if you're lonely and sad enough, you never know what might happen.
Yeah, murder could happen.
Speaking of lonely and sad, as we check in on characters, shouts out our guy Hopper, looking, and this is a compliment, looking like absolute shit this season. Loved it. That was one of my favorite things, other than how Randy looked and his getup. Just how he had just totally given up, looked and clearly felt awful. I was in love the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I have no idea how he was able to do that coming off of like Hellboy, because like he had some extreme workout regimen for Hellboy. I'm just like, do you just like sit at home and eat donuts all day? Is this how you get ready to play Fat Rambo?
And I mean, coming in hot too on like smoking cigarettes in bed with ash all over him.
Yeah, just
laying completely flat is a real mood.
Amazing. They also had this is just one of my notes. Conference table full of laughing fat guys. They really cared about having people look bad in this season. Everyone but Randy looked bad, I would say, in this season. Like, you've got Steve in the get up at work, and
poor Steve going from like the cool kid,
right,
always looking.
Well, he's peaked in high school,
great, yeah, and then now 2 years later he's wearing a sailor outfit for the entire season.
Yeah, I think shouts out to our costume designer, our hair and makeup people for really going hard this season.
I had a question as to why more people in Hawkins don't kill each other. Just because you have the monster to blame it on, you're the easiest out. It's basically like an ongoing purge for days at a time, where you can literally just murder anybody that pisses you off. And from what we've been watching through the entire season, a lot of people pissing each other off. Just kill him and blame it on the big ass monster.
Yeah, really. I would just be like, he was possessed by a monster. I had to.
Right? Like, that is the easiest out.
I think that one of the bigger steps forward for a character this season was Erica. I want to do a quick little timeout. Give shouts out to me. I never know any character's name in anything. My friend gave me a tip to start watching with subtitles, and then it says the name so often that you remember everybody. Erica was incredible this season. Lucas's little sister. Probably the worst twist maybe in television history was the reveal that she's a nerd. Like, right off she calls everybody nerd, and like within 5 seconds you're like, you seem to know a lot about everything. It seems like you're a nerd. I remember when we talked about season 2, you said that the actress who plays her is like the greatest, right?
Yeah, she's awesome. She moved from I think co-star to series regular. She's definitely a series regular this season. I don't know if she was co-star or guest star last season.
I will say there's been a lot of kids in this series. None of them have aged more rapidly than Erica, because I feel like in season 2 she was 4 years old, and now she's 10 years old and like a little boss. She was always a little boss, but now she looks like 5 years older.
The DP was posting some pictures on Instagram of all the kids at the season 1 table read. And oh my God, were they little babies?
Yeah.
Like, they were like legitimate babies. And now Finn is 5'10". He's as tall as I am.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bananas.
You mentioned Finn. I was most worried about how he was going to look, because I mean he looked like he was 1 year old in the first season, because he was 1 year old, and even seeing the red carpet thing, which we'll talk about, and seeing him in movies and stuff, he looks like he's a teenager who's trying to look like Matt Healy from the 1975. So he looks like just a totally different person. And I was like, man, how are they going to make him still look like Mike? And he didn't look like he'd aged a day. Like the Stranger Things people are beating puberty. Like not the actors, I don't know, the makeup people or whatever. They're making like this kid has grown into a young adult, and he still looked like he was 5 years old.
Yeah. No, they do a great job of definitely keeping them looking young. I will say though, Lucas has got like muscles now. Like Caleb, the actor who plays Lucas, has like muscles, and I'm just like, okay, now he's like legit muscular.
He's a person.
And there was a scene where he was just repeatedly swinging an axe like that.
Oh, yeah.
Probably weighs 25 pounds, and he was just going at it. And I was like, all right, this kid is like a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, and he's just out here strong arming an axe and beating the crap out of this this monster. So good for him.
Yeah.
Speaking,
you got to move on sometimes. You got to move on from D&D to actually fighting monsters.
Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's kid is on the show. Is that who plays Will?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man.
We were freaking out about how much the girl who plays Robin is Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's kid, and I was watching it, and I thought that she like looked a little bit like Lucy Boynton, and then like whatever, who cares? Maybe it's like her little sister or something. And then they showed a scene with her walking with Steve, and I don't know how tall Steve is IRL, but she was way taller than him. And I was like, oh, she's hella tall. Yo, maybe she's related to Uma Thurman actually. And then looked it up, and I texted you, and I was like, yo, like I reverse engineered that person is related to Uma Thurman, and you were like, yo, want to see a trick? Close your eyes. She sounds exactly like Uma, and it freaked me out the rest of the way. You're totally right.
Yeah. At the table read, like every time she spoke, I was like, oh my God, like she has her mother's vocal cords.
That
so weird.
She looks so much like her mother that now I think every person who doesn't look just like one of their parents, like there's funny business happened, because she is proof that clearly you can look exactly like your parent.
I didn't really make the connection at all. Like the only reason I knew that was because everybody was freaking out about it and talking about like, ooh, Uma Thurman's and Ethan Hawke's daughter is stealing the show in Stranger Things season 3, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, they did cast her, and then there's the big new character. So that's like I didn't make the connection right off the bat that it was the spawn of those two.
Speaking of actors and actresses on the show, check this out, Randy. Cara Buono, is that her last name? Buono. She is like 15 different actresses to me. She plays Mrs. Wheeler on Stranger Things, and she's also Kelly Moltisanti, and I've seen her in a million different other things, and I'm realizing now I've got like this issue where if I find out an actor plays multiple different people, I think they're multiple different people. I was like, did you know when you met her when she came on the show, you're like, oh, that's Kelly Moltisanti?
No, I didn't know at all. I recognized her from Mad Men.
She's also in Mad Men. She's three different actresses. She's
the psychologist that is like working on some sort of like product thing with the ad agency.
Yeah, and she sleeps with Don, right?
Who doesn't?
I know. That dog.
Me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Poor Pete. Your arc on Mad Men was woefully inadequate, Pete. I'm sorry that did that.
My arc on Stranger Things was woefully inadequate too. I had the Blackburn Farms, and then they just crossed me out halfway through the season. That was very upsetting.
Oh yeah, you get mad when people ask you for roles on Twitter, and I was thinking that
I don't get mad, Deej.
What do you get?
I try to tell them how the world works.
Sounds like
a cop out,
right? You're over 30 and not just letting the kids do whatever they want. That is by definition online now mad.
I just try to explain that actors on TV shows don't have any say in the casting of those TV shows.
Ah, okay.
Like if I was in charge of casting on Stranger Things, you'd think I'd give myself a bigger part.
Yeah.
Or not just tweet out like, all right, folks, who wants it? And then just give it to somebody who asks for it. Well, I was going to say,
I want some kid from Argentina to have a role as a series regular on Stranger Things.
Well, I know you don't like when people ask you on Twitter for roles, but you didn't say anything about asking for roles on podcasts. So I would say, like, I legitimately think I could have played like the guy in the convenience store when they go in and he says, "Y'all gonna pay for those?" He's got stupid hair like me. And then he asks Hopper if he's a bounty hunter. And that's it. I just botched my line. And then the Russian guy comes in and beats him up. All of those things I could see myself doing all four of those things. Working at a convenience store.
Yeah, you'd be a great cashier. Pete could have played Alexei. Pete, can you speak Russian?
Man, I could easily play one of those kids.
Yeah, no, Pete's a kid, man.
He was just easily glazed over.
You need a muscular kid. Get him in
right.
Lucas.
There we go.
The side scene of explaining how Lucas got so jacked. It's me just giving him my plan.
Pete can be Lucas's new friend who's tearing the group apart because Lucas is hanging out with this kid lifting weights at age 9 instead of playing Dungeons and Dragons with Will, which in the latest installment of DJ asks, does Will need to die? Will, no one wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. If you got to ask 10 times, what is the answer going to be different the 10th time, dude?
It doesn't matter if you put on the road, dude. Nobody still wants to play.
And then at the end, when Mike's like, "Yo, why are you donating your Dungeons and Dragons?" Will's like, "Oh, I wouldn't want to play with anybody else." And I wanted so badly for him to be like, "Oh, don't you fucking dare ask me why am I donating my Dungeons and Dragons after you the last 2 days have wanted to save your girlfriend and save the world when I have been throwing myself at you with Dungeons and Dragons. Fuck out of here, Mike."
I know. Some people just want to save the world, and it's like, come on, guys. Can you not just play Dungeons and Dragons?
I did love...
Do you guys remember that from your childhood, though? Like outgrowing your friend who still wanted to like play.
I never had a friend.
Right? Yeah, couldn't be me. Pete didn't outgrow, and I didn't have friends. So
I had like a super nerdy friend who, like, in high school was like still like doing like really nerdy like sort of kid stuff, and was like just like super into it, and it was like, you know, almost to the point where he would like come to school like, you know, dressed like a wizard. It was like,
I mean, man. Will's not too far off.
Yeah.
Good thing he moved out of town because he gets a fresh start.
But Will the Wise's wizard outfit was definitely a look.
Yes.
So I added to the list of everybody looked bad except for Mr. Clark and Scott, as it were. Which I didn't. Did they reveal that to be your name prior to the season?
Yeah, I say it in season 1 when I'm with Hopper in the woods and we're in the search party looking for Will. When I introduced myself to him, I introduced myself as Scott Clark.
I loved when he was angrily talking about you. That was a cool scene where Hopper's like,
I was hoping Hopper would kick your ass.
He didn't make fun of you or anything, but just he had that tone where he had that shit talking tone where he was like, "Oh yeah, so you gotta hang out with fucking Scott Clark." I was like, "Oh man, what a bird!" He didn't even say anything bad about you, but man.
I mean, we talked about in previous Stranger Things episodes that Will just gets like the biggest shit end of the stick in the first 2 seasons, where he's just
wouldn't if they just killed him. It would all end. It would be over.
But I mean, in this season, he got the shittest end of the stick without actually getting like fucked up by a monster.
Yeah, because they just made him a loser.
They just made him a big time loser.
He didn't get stuck in another universe or possessed by a creature from another universe. But his friends just didn't want to play with him anymore.
Well, isn't that a commentary on life? Just sometimes
you
being here and being alive, and that is the worst of all of them. That is just as bad as anything else. Don't forget it.
I would honestly rather be stuck in the upside down than like wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons and having nobody want to while they all make out around you and you're just sitting there.
We don't know what they were doing in the upside. Maybe Will was like hot shit in the upside down.
He could have been like the cool dude. Like he's the foreign exchange student.
Yes, he comes in and the Demogorgon's like, "Oh shit, Will's here."
It's like, "Oh, check it. That's a cool accent. Where are you from?"
Right. Is that who I think it is? Fucking Will is in the house. Yes. And then he comes back and he's like, "Yo, we having a good time or what?" And they're like, no, because you're here, Will. We don't like the scene where Mike holds Will by the face. It may have been cut out and says, Will, nobody here likes you or wants to play Dungeons and Dragons. We're all making out. Kiss someone, you freak.
And,
that was a touching scene.
And it's Will making up the hairs on the back of his neck to be like, hey, guys, I got something to say. And he just keeps touching the back of his neck so he can get some attention.
Wow, you guys are haters.
I love that this interview has turned into an unfiltered conversation from Pete and I about Stranger Things, where you totally can't participate or say anything. We'll just keep reminding people throughout this that you're still on the line.
Hey, Will Kid's a real piece of shit, huh, Randy?
I remember the first time we said that Will needs to die. We were like, "Is that okay? That we like? Do you think that he'll hang up on us if we say that?" And now we're starting with complaints and leading right into some juicy "what a freak you are, Will" talk. Just beautiful. Well, we've got a segment called "Questions for Mr. Clark." You ready to play, Randy?
Yeah. Is there like some intro music?
Yes.
Can you hear it?
Wow, that was a good one.
Thank you. Thank you, Father John Misty.
Yeah, fucking Stranger Things isn't the only thing that can just insert music and be cool.
We got money. Dollar bills, boy. Okay.
We haven't lost a sponsorship in like 4 days. So we are rolling in that music.
Congratulations, guys. Joy.
Huh?
That was recently called that by some higher ups.
That other company.
These are the same. It said these are the same ones who did that awkward Jaybird thing.
Yeah, we got a. Maybe we may have gotten another complaint, and it was referred to as, "Are these the other hosts from that other awkward ad?"
Yes.
Yes, it sure is.
Our plan basically is we were told not to talk about this or put it on Twitter or anything, so we are going to talk about it when the ads aren't playing. So when we send the episode to them and say, hey, here's where the ads are, they don't hear us saying anything bad. Boop, goes through, checks clear, all good. But in the other times, we'll be talking, we'll be like, hey, so I was listening to Father John Misty. They complained again. It was this specific ad and blah, 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 and just sneak it in. And it's like a subliminal thing. That's scientific.
Yeah, totally.
Pretty good stuff. Okay, so let's get into questions for Mr. Clark, sponsored by Brunch. Number one, when all the electricity went out in the beginning, why didn't Mr. Clark take advantage of the fact that nobody remembered the Beatles?
Mr. Clark is not a scumbag.
Do you think that Jack Malik is a scumbag?
Yeah, come on. That's a scummy thing to do.
It absolutely was.
Yeah, he's just reminding the world of the Beatles.
And by not telling them it's the Beatles. Also,
by going, this is my music.
And letting the world that doesn't remember the Beatles remember the Beatles.
Another funny thing I realized about that movie recently, it's a musical movie with Lily James in it, and the music in it is bad, and they don't have Lily James sing at all.
Yeah,
I'm like,
she does is do like one background singing scene, and you can barely even hear her. I was thinking about that later, too. I was like, she didn't sing in that movie.
She's a dead ringer for Agneta, and you're not having her sing like anything? Come on.
Another question for Mr. Clark. Since you're able to solve a lot of the problems in Hawkins, please explain to me, or please explain to whoever submitted this question, why Billy's car didn't work when he went into the warehouse, and then he sprinted out of that abandoned warehouse, and his car magically worked. Ooh.
The creature went in and took out the starter so that he'd be stuck there, and then put it back in so that he could get away.
That's pretty cool.
Similar to what he did to the car in the mall.
So I was saying, are you being serious? Because I thought that Billy took the starter out. I thought that Billy took the starter out, but would it have been the creature that did that?
He was possessed by the creature, so yeah,
okay, so they're all the same. Hey, speaking of which, I'm going to interrupt this segment for a quick little jokes for Mr. Clark. What's Billy's favorite sandwich?
I don't know. What is it?
A Filet-O-Fish.
Hey,
Oh yeah, boy, Will in the house.
I got one. What does Dacre Montgomery call the upside down?
What?
The Down Under.
Yes, that's pretty good. I like that
He's
a lot.
Australian. He's from Australia.
Here's a new question for Mr. Clark. Why doesn't Mr. Clark smoke cigarettes on the show before the band takes place? Smoke them if you got them. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Clark is a healthy boy.
But man, people got mad. I tweeted out a still of Hopper in bed with that thing we were talking about. Hopper in bed on the pillow, smoking, ashes everywhere. And I said, if they take away Hopper's cigarettes, they're losing a viewer. And like two people one person responded, "Welp," and another person responded, "Yeah, you're gonna not want to read the responses to this one." And then literally it got like 44 likes, 0 retweets, and no other responses. And I was like, "You idiots! You thought that this would be any different from my tweets? You dummies!" I'm not like people who are upset that they're taking the cigarettes away. They're not saying like, "Oh no, but we like cigarettes and think cigarettes are good for people." It's a show set in the 80s, and like, we gonna act like guys didn't smoke cigarettes back then?
Right. I know. It's ridiculous.
And also, like, the self-destructive nature of Hopper.
Right, dude.
Yeah, that fits his character.
That is like the 18th least healthiest thing that guy does.
Oh yeah. Do you have any questions for Mr. Clark? I got one more.
I do not have any.
This is the big one. What was it like filming the post-credit scene, you American guy, you? Are you really going to do that? Yo, you've spoken 4 words on this. We are interviewing the hell out of you right now, and we're getting nothing.
Sometimes silence says a lot more than any words could.
Yeah. So you know what?
We're not saying that it's
watch your mouth,
but it's confirmed.
You're saying a lot of things, and some of them aren't.
Two things that have been confirmed in this episode: that Will is an absolute degenerate, garbage human, and
degenerate loser, terminal loser,
and Randy is confirmed the American.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a ton of people online who are like, "It's definitely Mr. Clark behind that door," and I'm like, "What?
Do people think that?" I mean,
I think, but people on the internet, they're like, "I've got a crazy theory. This must be the case. It's because he's so smart that the Russians were like, he can open the gate." And I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, they opened the gate without him. You think they need him to open the gate? Come on, guys."
Yo, they don't got Alexi anymore.
Yeah.
You think they're going to be like running around and going like, "Let's find that middle school teacher."
Yes. Rest in peace. Alexi, just an all-time character. The Alexi, hold on, I'm going to get this to show that I know every character's name. The Alexi Murray relationship is adorable.
It was the best. It was, if I had to root for there's so many like Stranger Things spin-offs that I could root for at this point in time, just because I love the relationships between characters. Like I could for sure go for a Steve, Dustin, and Robin spin-off. That'd be amazing. I could go for a Murray and Alexi spin-off for sure. There's just so many of them. And I was devastated with Alexi's fate because it was so well done.
Right. And the way they set it up with the balloons.
Yeah.
The initial fake out, I don't know if it's technically a red herring, where he does hit all the balloons and nothing bad happens to him, and you're like, "Ooh, thank God." And like the death scene is so quick, and just like in passing, that's so much more devastating. We're big fans of real, not drawn out deaths.
Yeah.
Which is why the man, I think I finally lost. I don't know what the Russian soldier is named.
I don't think he has one.
Ooh, he's just like the Terminator 2 guy, right?
Jean-Claude Van Russian.
Is that? I think they were probably going for that. They were like, let's just get Russian Terminator 2 guy. But he did.
I think it was more like original Terminator. I think he's like Arnold, because Mayor Klein calls him Arnold Schwarzenegger at one point.
That's right. Mayor Klein shouts out Jerry from Liar Liar.
Oh, yeah.
And Dr. What's his name? Dr. Whatever from Saw. Dr. Gordon.
Yeah, those are definitely the things he's best known for, DJ, who's never seen the fucking Princess Bride.
I legitimately fucking haven't.
I haven't either.
Yeah. That was not a. Yeah.
Wow.
Couldn't be a. We are not Star Wars guy. Like Steve Harrington, not a Star Wars guy. When he did that at the end, I was dying. I was like, yo, this is me.
Star Wars, A New Hope. What?
And then what do you say? The one with the one with the cats.
The one with the teddy bears.
Yeah, the one with the teddy bears. And it goes. Where? He killed that. So good. But P was talking about Murray and Alexei and wanting spin-offs. I think that what the Duffer Bros, and correct me if I'm wrong, have done so well as the show has gone on is they've really pulled an Entourage, or for hockey fans, Claude Julien, and made a lot of things about like breaking people off into twos, pairing people together. Second season, obviously he paired 11 with Hopper. This season, he pairs Joyce with Hopper. He pairs Murray with Alexei. He's got Steve and Robin. Dustin's with Erica. I'm putting on a fucking tour de force with the names right now, by the way.
I mean, Dustin spent the entire season away from the rest of the group of kids, and you didn't like miss him with that group once.
Crazy.
I didn't.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, he's Scoop Troop for life now.
He's Scoop Troop for life. So I think really just the thing is like Randy needs to be paired, or Mr. Clark needs to be paired.
Well,
I mean, why don't you give Joyce a non-problematic boyfriend? Come on, guys.
That's what I was just gonna say. Now that Hopper's out of the picture, she spent some time with Mr. Clark, but then she also
pissed off Harper too.
But then she also hung out with you for 5 seconds and immediately moved out of town. So what does that say about you?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Clark can't keep him around, I guess.
Yo, I feel like Mr. Clark would crush a long distance girlfriend though.
Ooh.
Yeah, they get together on the ham radio.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to see each other a lot, so not a lot of reasons to break up.
You need to find an adult Susie.
That's right. Sing the Never-Ending Story together. What did you guys think of that sequence?
Yeah,
That's my favorite sequence of the season.
I was so fucking hyped. I when they started singing, I was like,
that was so well
none of the kids are gonna get this, but boy, like Never-Ending Story was a lot of our childhoods. That was amazing. And Dustin, man, don't listen to the haters. Like, fuck Max and Lucas. Randy, you're silent again. Randy's mic sucks. Is Will producing over there? That fucking loser.
We got bonus listener questions for Randy.
Oh yes, yeah, we got listener questions that were written in. Jeff asks, wonder if that's our Jeff. What's your favorite mall food court food?
Funny, true story. So the mall that they shot at, I used to date a girl that worked at the Cinnabon there.
Ooh. Was it Uma?
No. I am not Maya Hawke's
family
father.
Business. Family business.
And the best thing about dating a girl that works at Cinnabon is that she always smells like Cinnabon.
Ooh, that does seem like a very
like it gets it gets baked into your skin.
Hell yeah, like Will's problem.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
He's always touching his skin.
Yeah.
It's your girlfriend is like touching the back of her neck, and she's like, "Fuck, I smell like Cinnabon again."
I'll tell you, though,
she gets sense whenever a Cinnabon is near.
Yes.
I think it's just that it's the smell of cinnamon. It goes such a long way. If you ever want to quickly make your home smell good, turn on the oven, throw some cinnamon in there, and your home will smell amazing in like 1 second. Pretty crazy.
Well,
Boom.
That's tips to keep a home.
Okay.
DJ Bean.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff, for that question.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. This next one is from Jeff. What's your favorite Weird Al song?
It is Yoda.
I don't know if I know that.
It's done to the tune of Lola.
Oh, nice.
And it's from Luke Skywalker's perspective. And he's just singing. He's singing about Yoda.
Is that the one with the teddy bears?
That's the guy from Liar Liars in that one? The mayor?
Wow.
He's also Dr. Gordon in Saw. Did we hit that yet?
Yeah.
Jeff asks, who's the most famous person in your cell phone?
in my cell phone. I don't know. Probably David Harbour.
That's awesome.
He seems like the best.
Right.
He is literally the best person I've ever met.
I remember after
it's pretty insulting because we've literally both met you.
Right. You've hung.
You guys are tied for second.
Who's the worst person you've ever met? Is it Will? Because he seems like a piece of shit.
Seems like maybe he's a good actor, and because imagine being able to play that much of a loser. He must. Noah is the young man's name, right?
Is he method acting?
Randy's glitching out. Randy's what's it called? What's Spider-Man 2? He's
the cheater single?
What's it called? Where you just go away, which seems awesome, by the way. You just disappear.
Go invisible?
Yeah, they said that somebody was blanked. It's when they just disappear. You saw Spider-Man.
Oh no, you mean the Avengers?
Nah, dude. Yo, how am I the biggest nerd here? I'm fucking Erica right now. Where in Spider-Man 2, the one that just came out, people just
snapped.
People disappear, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the snap.
They say like the blip.
The blip. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, Randy blipped again. Let's see if this will get him back. What does Brett Gelman smell like? This one's from Jeff.
He smells like oak and a very expensive cologne.
Ooh, I could see him having an expensive cologne.
Yeah, it's either like one end of the spectrum or the other. Like it's either he smells like wet paper towels or he smells like really expensive
or he smells
cologne.
like Cinnabon. There is no in between. Jeff asks, roller coasters, yay or nay? Oh, I know the answer to this. I think.
Absolute nay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hate roller coasters. I used to really love them, and then I went to Six Flags a couple of years ago, and I got too high.
Ooh. Like too high on a roller coaster, or too high on drugs?
No. I was hitting a vape, and don't do that before you go on a roller coaster.
Well, I mean, they want to take away your cigarettes, but I guess we're just gonna vape,
right? Because we're gonna have to make them jazz cigarettes.
Yeah, guys, marijuana's good for you.
That would be awesome if we nerds.
That would be fucking
work in some smoke when the garage door opens. If all the smoke comes out,
I was gonna say earlier in the episode, the only way that intro could have been cooler is if you had like a smoke machine, in your garage, like, and that would have fit so well in that scene too. But I was gonna say, I think it'd be hilarious if Netflix caved to taking away the cigarettes and they just replaced them in every scene with weed.
Yeah.
There's smoking joints in every scene.
The garage door comes up and you see smokes coming up, and then when it finally goes to the face, it's you just token and coughing, getting the thing where your voice gets really deep, and then you do like a kawaii, like,
what is Myers?
What's up, Miss Byers? There was a very high scene in Stranger Things season 3.
I want some of those Russian drugs.
Yeah, seriously.
Except for the barfing part.
Well, I mean, they were still high after barfing, so those were high quality drugs. I know. I was wondering. I was like, are they suggesting that once they stop barfing, they won't be high anymore? Because unfortunately, that is not how it works, kids. We need Mr. Clark here to point out, like, okay, viewers, they're still high. Yeah. Last question from Jeff is Jeff ?
Yes.
That's a hard yes. That was a no-brainer.
No, that's all caps, yes.
Here's a question for me. You're an entertainment reporter for the Stranger Things premiere. Why don't you do your fucking job and get the scoop on who Josh Tillman would have played in season 2?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, like, here's the thing. He was probably just asked to audition for the show.
He was, and he
like,
said
I don't think he was like straight up given an offer to be in the show.
Correct. He was asked to audition, and he said no, and because he didn't want that notoriety, then went out in an interview and volunteered that he was asked to audition for Stranger Things.
Yeah, and then he did that shitty movie.
Ooh, Hotel Artemis? Not that bad.
No, not terrible. I mean,
Hotel Fartimus.
Oh, that's right. You had that good joke. And I know why you don't like it. It's because prior to Godzilla 2, he had the coolest, oh shit, it's blank. Oh, wait, now he's dead?
Yeah.
Scene.
Yeah.
And then you just destroyed that and blew it out of the water. So
Yeah,
you're being like Team USA Soccer and just kind of dancing on the grave of the person that you beat.
I was sipping tea.
Ooh, there you go.
She could have also been smoking weed. I don't know why people let that go so quickly.
Who?
Alex Morgan.
See, DJ, you got a bad take there. You know how I know that's a bad take?
Why is that?
Because Piers Morgan said the same thing.
Piers Morgan's soccer takes the last few weeks have ruled.
Like 100%, just firing on all cylinders. The worst takes. They're so bad that like not even his own fan base are like, yeah, I got him. They're all like, oh, fuck this guy. There's might not be a more hated person in the world that like 100% across the board than Piers Morgan.
This is why I go to Twitter though, just like bad dumb shit and outrage. Piers Morgan is delivering me all of this right now.
He's really the king.
Oh man, you want to talk about Midsommar?
Have you guys not seen it?
I have not seen it.
I've
not do any
Wikipedia
serious spoilers, but let's do Randy Explains.
Oh, we forgot. We didn't spoil anything. Hopper dies at the end.
We for sure we subtly
want to make spoilers. That's a huge one.
I'll say I don't know how you feel. I mean, he's a friend. He better be dead. He better be dead. And Pete made the point of that would be a great place to stop the show. My thing is, I stood up and clapped, bravo, when they killed him off, because that is a mark of a great show that says we are going to spend a season showing you exactly how great this character can be. Then we're going to kill him off, and we're going to keep going,
building up a relationship that never actually got there.
This was one of those things where, in hindsight, you should say, like, man, I should have said they were going to kill off Hopper at the end of this. Like, they gave you everything that you wanted with Hopper, especially at the end with the letter and everything.
But the point that I knew that it might be a possibility is when he said bye to Mike. When he stopped Mike when Mike was walking away, and he was like, "Take care of her."
Oh.
Or something like that. He said something to that.
I may have been snacking during that part.
Yeah. So he before going down into that Russian basement, he had a parting words for Mike.
I mean, I hope that they don't pull any funny business.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that with like The Walking Dead, where it's like if you keep doing that shit,
no one's gonna take you seriously.
Right? Exactly. So I like the boldness of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Walking Dead really shit the bed when they built up Rick's last episode, and then we're like, haha, he's not dead.
Really?
Oh, really?
He's not that far. I did it with I jumped off the boat when they did that with
they did that with
Steve
Glenn.
Yeah.
What do you mean? No, they definitely killed Steve Young.
Yeah, they eventually did. They did like
first.
5
times.
That season they kept like teasing the bodies.
Dumpster.
Yeah.
That was some.
I was like, that is some bull.
They teased Rick's final episode, and then at the end of the episode, a helicopter comes and picks him up and flies away. And then immediately after the episode, they announced that there's going to be a trilogy of movies with Rick.
They can't. That thing can't stop making money though. So I can't. I'm so glad that I'm out on it, but I'm like, damn, man, like just everything, no matter what they do. People, and I'm sure that there are people this very second starting The Walking Dead on Netflix or something, and they're gonna get all caught up and excited. The Walking Dead is like the Black Album. Like every year, I don't know if there are album sales anymore, but like forever, every year the Black Album would just go platinum of like kids who would see Metallica behind the music, and they'd go out and get the Black Album, and it would just never stop, and Metallica would keep getting new fans. No matter how bad they got. I feel like that's the exact same thing that's happening with The Walking Dead. It's probably gotten so awful and sloppy like Metallica, and people are still getting into it, and they can do these trilogy of movies that will make $1 bajillion.
Oh, Randy's
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Randy,
what are you on The
Randy
Walking
flipped.
Dead now too? You can talk shit about them.
No, I did just say they shit the bed, so I probably never get cast on that show now.
But yeah, back to the final thoughts on season 3. I thought that season was fantastic, and I know there's probably going to be. They've already confirmed that they're doing a 4th, right?
No, it has not been confirmed.
Hasn't been confirmed. Well, I mean, they had the post-credit scene, and that seems to suggest that they're going to do at least one more. If they do not, I am very okay with the show ending where it ended. Like, I thought that was a very clean, very nice way to sort of bring it all together, and like leave things a little bit open-ended.
I don't disagree with that. I just think that if it were as great a show as it has convinced me over these 3 seasons, I think that it would be able to actually still put out great seasons without Hopper, who rules and is probably most people's favorite character.
I agree. My biggest concern is like the sci-fi stuff, because I think at some point you're going on the edge of sort of writing yourselves in circles with like bringing back the monsters and like having these, because now we've gone
the Demogorgon's back.
Right.
Yeah.
But like we've gone back-to-back seasons where it's like been this huge close the gate thing, and the gate opens up again. So it's just like I think that you are risking the exhaustion of that storyline.
I'll say this. Unlike something like The Walking Dead, which feels like it's sort of a retread every season. The Duffer Brothers 2 have a plan. And they always have sort of had a beginning, a middle, and an end to their story. So I don't think that Stranger Things is going to be something that wears out its welcome. I think it's going to be something that has a very definitive ending.
Where do you think we are in the beginning, middle, or an end at this point in time?
I think we're towards the end. I don't think it's over. I think we'll definitely see a season 4, and there's the possibility of a season 5.
Yeah, my guess was 5.
It goes a good place.
It goes, and that they'll eventually, by then they'll have to deal with the Modern Family effect of like, sorry, the cute little kid is 45 now. Like that's how time works. Now they're figuring it out, and I don't know that they haven't really had a misstep yet. So my guess would be 5, 4, because it, like you said, they've laid out that it's coming, and 5 because unless I don't know, you know the business way better than me, Randy. Everybody starts getting way too expensive. I would think that this is such a profitable thing for everybody that it would be worth it to buy that much
music.
That's true. If they get into the 90s, the music's gonna start getting a little worse.
Assuming that all the contracts are worked out until the conceivable end, because we've got this show's made millionaires of a lot of people, so hopefully everyone.
Worst comes to worst, they can just cut Will out of the picture.
Right, say a few bucks.
Yeah.
Wow, guys!
Wow! What a loser! But you did see Midsommar, and I Wikipedia'd it, so I feel like we can have a conversation about it if you want to do that.
Yeah, Midsommar is a great feel-good film.
Word.
About shedding toxicity and finding your inner queen.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. It's about a party in Sweden. And it's great because, in Sweden, I guess during the summer, there's no nighttime. So it's just all bright and sunny. And it's just gorgeous. And you really feel good at the end of the film.
So here's my thing. I Wikipedia'd it, and it says it's about a woman who goes to another country, and a bunch of weird stuff happens with the old people, and kind of sounds a little My Big Fat Greek Wedding to me.
I was going to ask, is this is Midsommar the sequel to Mid-90s?
Yeah, I think.
Nice.
But is it in Sweden? Is it in Swedish?
No, it's an American film.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Mamma Mia.
I did read the in reading the Wikipedia thing, the characters' names are like Christian and like Ben, and like there is no Carl in there. There's no Max in there. That is,
well, they're Americans going to Sweden.
Oh, that's true. But
there are Swedish characters, so there are a couple of Carls and Maxes running around.
Okay, let me ask you: is it that graphic? Because I'll tell you, I read the Wikipedia thing, and there were points at which I was like, "Yo, that could be really, really graphic." You know, I'm just gonna pull it up.
Don't spoil it. I don't want to be ruined.
You just brutally spoiled Stranger Things for everybody without any warning.
Fuck off.
I think if you're listening to a brunch episode about Stranger Things and you don't know that it's going to get spoiled,
you played yourself.
You dumb.
So the bear thing, like, is that a graphic thing to watch?
No, that part is not even like that part's a little bit skipped over. No, there's much more graphic things that happen.
The Blood Eagle part, how about that? It seems like a lot of the stuff is with animals.
I don't know.
They do stuff to people with. It says shortly after the ritual, a disoriented blank discovers blank's blank partially buried and blank's body ritually dismembered as a blood eagle.
I don't know what that is. Yes. But even that, I mean, there's a pretty shocking point. Probably like, well, I won't say the first. Like, there are a couple of like just very disturbing images. The Blood Eagle is not particularly. I mean, it's horrifying, but honestly, the most horrifying thing happens, like, for me, well, there's two. So one happens, and it's like a very, like, oh, God, is this about to be this thing? And it totally is.
Is that the face thing?
No, it's like pre-title sequence. There's like a whole, like, sort of prologue to the film that sort of ends in this horrific way. But then there's one sequence. It's sort of like pretty much the second sequence in the film that'll make you go like, oh, fuck. And that's pretty bad. And sort of like a bang, bang type, like this thing happens and then it's immediately followed up by something horrible. And then that something horrible even turns into something that's even more horrible as part of like this ritual that this community is doing.
I'm in.
Yo, I'll tell you, you sound like legitimately, I'm not joking, you are recounting this as though it traumatized you.
So here's the thing is, like, they're on drugs through most of the movie.
Couldn't be me. Go on.
They're all tripping, and I got like bad trip PTSD in a major way. That was probably the worst part of the film is the girl takes some mushrooms and she's like, they never like go inside her head or like fully explain what like is going on. Like you know what's going on because you've seen sort of like her past trauma, but like you can tell that she's like sort of reliving this traumatic event from her life, but they're not showing any of her like thoughts or anything. It's just like her kind of talking to herself and like just walking around while she's tripping.
You're saying you're like going through it, not like not what she's experiencing.
It made me like sick to my stomach to see that because I felt so bad for her. And that was probably the most horrific thing in the film to me was like going like, oh my God, I wish somebody would just like
help her
and like be like supportive of her.
That seems like a trend throughout the Wikipedia. No one cares for this girl. No one's worried about this girl or looking out for her.
She's got a shitty boyfriend and he's got shitty friends. And the first scene where you see like her shitty boyfriend hanging out with his shitty friends is like, she's calling him and all of his friends are going like, dude, don't answer. She just being needy. And it's like, oh, so this is who you're going to go to Sweden and hang out with? It's awful. Like all these people that are around her are like fucking terrible people. And I think that's like the worst part about the movie is like going like, God, get rid of these fucking assholes. Get these fucking people out of your life. They are bad for you.
Ugh. I think I'm going to see it. I'm serious.
Highly recommend.
Really?
Absolutely highly recommend this film. It is definitely my top 5 this year.
Is it like a have to see it if you're going to talk about movies thing?
It is. Yes, absolutely. It is so well done. And
but people said the same thing about Hereditary, and that didn't end up being like in the final discussion.
Yeah, and plus I'm never seeing that shit. So
Hereditary, I think like I loved, the whole journey of Hereditary and like where it went and everything. But this Midsommar is about like, I think it's actually like about something, and it's about like dealing with your trauma and like how to deal with your past in like a healthy way. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's a bigger story than just like a horror movie.
All right.
I'll tell you, it does. Without this would be a spoiler for Pete. Pete's not seen the movie I'm going to compare it to, but he's heard it. Its ending reminds me of Would You Rather's ending. Have you heard Would You Rather?
Is it Blevins? Blevins kills everybody?
I've seen Would You Rather. No.
Yeah, you've seen Would You Rather?
I have, yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I loved it.
It's so bad. It's amazing.
I saw it before I heard your breakdown of it. Pardon me. I need a sip.
You got that iced coffee, boy. What are you putting in there?
Cold brew.
What you got? A cold
brew, baby.
You got a cold brew. What you got in there? You got some creme?
Yep.
Sugar?
Nope.
Ooh,
no one's fitting into those shorts when you're pounding sucrose into your body. Am I right?
That's right.
Stranger Things was very good about like celebrating fat people because they made all of Nancy's coworkers just awful fat old men. So equal opportunity, just a bunch of fat white guys.
Well, I mean, they kind of did celebrate Hopper's fatness.
That's I'm saying like legitimately,
Plus,
like they weren't just putting like all skinny people and
plus very reflective of the times. We've already gone over the cigarettes thing. If you're going to accurately portray cigarettes in the 80s, you have to also put shitty white men in charge of everything.
Yeah, that's also true. I thought, by the way, you said that you don't do roller coasters. I thought you were going to say you do, because remember at the Super Bowl, we did a little video and they wanted us to do it they had a huge Ferris wheel there. And one of us said, over my dead body. And the other one said, are you serious? And you were like, would you do it if they gave you a helmet or something? And I was like, no, I'm just not. I just don't want to do that.
No, that's a Ferris wheel, DJ. That's not a roller coaster.
A Ferris wheel is definitely a roller coaster.
Ferris wheel is not a roller coaster.
It's a motorized thing that puts you up super high for no reason. That's a definition of a roller coaster.
I thought it would be fun for us to do an interview while we were both scared.
I feel like the last 6 pop culture things I've watched have had a carnival in them. It's been like Spider-Man had a carnival in it. Rocket Man had a carnival in it. I watched Euphoria, and that had a carnival in the last episode. Stranger Things had a fucking carnival in it. Just so many carnivals.
Yeah, it's summertime.
Ridiculous.
It's time to celebrate.
It's true.
Hopefully one of those rides malfunctions and Will's on it.
Jesus Christ.
Love you, Randy. Bye.
Love you guys.